Hello and welcome everybody, hope that you're good. And before we jump into the Fashion Week taking over, I've got some good news. Once the diesel truck has gone by, there have been some updates to the Shadow Raids for this whole event, and including Shadow Ho-Oh's Raid Day, and you can see that right here. We're actually going to be able to remote raid Shadow Raids for the first time ever. Speculate in the comments, shall we? But for the first time ever, you'll be able to remote raid Shadow Raid bosses, including Shadow Ho-Oh on its Raid Day, and the remote raid limit will be increased to 20 during the course of Shadow Ho-Oh's Raid Day, and for a little bit extra either side, like is typical with raids. And there's also going to be an extended or varied range of IVs available from 1 and 3-star Shadow Raids, which basically means a greater range of IV potential. But 5-star Shadow Raids are going to get an IV boost, which I'm thinking means that you're going to be able to encounter a minimum of 10, 10, 10, like it is for Legendary Raid Standard. So let me know what you think of that. I personally think this is Niantic finally recognizing that the Shadow Raids, certainly the Legendaries, are not pulling the communities together as they first suspected. Besides, they've now dumped that sort of whole ethos onto Dynamax and Gigantamax, so they're kind of freeing up the Shadow Raids. It does mean you'll be able to remote Shadow Registeel as well for the extended period of this weekend coming, which does mean, folks, I can say, if you've been unable to get a Shadow Ho-Oh in the past and you are in need of some invites, jump into my Discord, add some people in there, but also I am going to be inviting some people. So if you fancy some raid invites from myself, drop a comment with your in-game name and your friend code in the comments below, and let's add some people and hopefully send some Shadow Shiny Light your way. But that's enough information. Let's jump into Fashion Week taken over, not with the Flabébé. We actually have more costume Pokemon available, introduced in Part 2, than there were available during Part 1 at all, which I find hysterical. So we've now got finally the return of Wooper, Sneasel in the wild for the first time ever. Usually it's raid and research locked. We've also got Krogunk and Absol back. So 4 new costume Pokemon are in for this remaining 5 days or so. The standard spawns, as you can see, the Diglett and the Curlier, etc., are very much sticking around for Part 2 as well. We still have the Minccino, we still have the Dragonite and everything. It's all normal, we've just got added Team Rocket stuff. Of course, new Shadow Shiny potential. I can only demonstrate one because my first 4 leaders from Balloons have all been Arlo. Arlo has the new Shadow Shiny Alolan Grimer, which is a Shadow Shiny, will look fantastic. Sierra has the brand new Shadow Shiny Skorupi, which will look insane as a Shadow Shiny, but is meh useful. And the returning Shadow Shiny is in the hands of Cliff. He's going to have a Shadow Shiny Cubone. Let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comments below of that one, because I personally think it's a bit of a dead wave. There's some good shinies, some good looking shinies, but they're not overly usable. Anyway, as you can see there, Shroodle is in the most common tier of those 12Ks, so we're going to be burning through batches of 12Ks, hopefully getting that new Pokedex. That would be great if we could achieve this. Let's complete the collection challenge as well. We finally got everything this morning done and dusted for an encounter. Okay. Trubbish? Trubbish should have a hat. There are new Shadow Pokemon available. The likes of Trubbish being a Shadow Pokemon for the first time ever is there. We've also got Bunnelby. The Gen 5 starters are now Shadow potential as well, with Snivy, Oshawott, and Tepig. However, there is a Dragonite in that direction, which I would like to go and do. Where are the Rocket Leaders? Tell me. Ah, there's one right next to the gym. So, we have to go and get Shadow Palkia today. Shadow Palkia from Giovanni is going to be available until the beginning of March, I believe it is. We're still chasing for the Dragonite Shiny this year, and 2136. That would be a Hundo Darkrai, but we're not raiding that. Honestly, I've been doing so many quests. Every raid invite has been done for these things, done them in person. No joy. Green? Still no green. Honestly, it doesn't feel like this thing is boosted. Or it just doesn't like me. Dragonite in the bag. Dead 3-star. However, that's a Cliff. Okay, so we'll be able to take down a Shadow Cubone. Gothitelle is back in the wild for this Part 2, which is great. That was new as a shiny for Fashion Week 2023. We've also got Marini. That's a quality shiny. I know a lot of you might be chasing that thing. Stunky is also available. Again, this is a quality shiny, only made available sort of almost this time last year with Sinnoh. However, before we jump into Cliff, I do have some good news, not this research. For a couple of days, I've been waiting on this shiny Minccino. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get it on camera, but we did manage to pick it up from a random field research task. We've been sat on it forever. I was so happy to finally pick this thing up. It really felt like it wasn't going to sparkle for me the entire event. And now finally we know that Minccino quests and raids are sticking around for part 2. I've seen a lot of people getting Minccino online, which is great. So let me know in the comments below, if you've had shiny Minccino luck. This thing, not a bad 3-star. And I've got to be honest, I don't know how many encounters later it was. And then all my dragonites are stacked behind it. So let's jump into our first cliff battle, and hopefully it's not going to be too difficult to take down. So the leader lineups have shifted a bit, and I've got to be honest, they're almost more annoying than ever. My thanks to Pokemon Go Hub, the folks over there of course have put together an infographic for it. So as you can see on here, Cliff, Shadow Cubone is always going to be slot number 1, but then you could have Shadow Machoke, Shadow Marowak, or Shadow Annihilate. Theoretically, you could run yourself with, I think, a Katana, or something that has Razor Leaf and Leaf Blade. That would be very easy to spam those moves against Marowak and Cubone. And then you should be able to have a Fairy type to take down Annihilate and Machoke. And his final mons are Machamp, Crobat, or Tyranitar. Typically it's Tyranitar, so I definitely recommend bringing in a fighting type just to cover it. Let's see how we do with the old battle party. Switch into Katana. The second mon is going to be the Marowak, so honestly, Leaf Blade is going to be very easy to take that one down. It's still going to do some super effective damage against us, but it's not a problem. And the final mon is Tyranitar, and we should be able to Leaf Blade it and then switch hopefully back into Mega Lucario. To be honest, Team Rocket Waves, I absolutely love these events because they're very easy to access. You can go and do the grunts for free, you can go and do the leaders for free. If you want to go for those 12km eggs and stack up on them, you don't necessarily have to burn tons and tons of incubators or rocket radar and coins. They're really good. The wild spawns for this part 2 of the Fashion Week are seemingly vastly better and much more Fashion Week-esque. But here is Cliffy Boy done and dusted. That's our 5th 12km egg. And then once we've got ourselves another 4, I'll be able to actually spin a Pokestop for the day. But will it be green? We did actually years ago get a Shadow Shiny Cubone, which of course we evolved in 2022 to Shadow Shiny Alolan Marowak. This is not green. Whether they'll eventually allow us to evolve Cubone up to Alolan Marowak again in the future remains to be seen. Cubone caught and 0-star. Marvelous. I need more grunts. How are we doing on the old components? 3 out of 6. We are going to drop daily incense and get some roots and bits and pieces done. Now I need to purify something for the research, and I don't have any 1k purifications saved up, apart from maybe the Hundo Rattata. Hundo Shadow Rattata. But I'm not going to purify that, that would be insane. There is something I've held on to, God, since May last year, and it's this. This thing would purify to a purified Hundo Suicune. And I think, honestly, 20k dust, I'm going to do nothing with it otherwise. Let's just purify it and get ourselves another Hundo Suicune. There we go. Got ourselves a new Hundo Legendary. How about that? 4-star goodness. We don't need to have a question mark on there anymore. What do we think of that? Suicune, just spelt slightly differently. So we can tick off stage 1 of this research, because of course the research is going to require you to take down grunts and to take down rocket leaders. What's the encounter going to be? It should be Fashion Week Wooper. Honestly, I love seeing Wooper back. I was complaining that that was not available, and I need to get this shiny. I didn't get it during 2023, despite doing a 24-hour grind for it. Again, you can go and check out the 24-hour grind for the Fashion Week from 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago, up there, if you fancy it. 91, could be worse. I never actually evolved one, oh dear God. But we just wasted 15,000 Stardust doing the bits that we needed to do. So there's some Pineapps. Hello. That's okay. And we got 3 components. So let's get ourselves our dust, which we don't get anything near what you spent back. And an encounter with a Krogunk, and it's honestly so good to see that coming back. You actually get 5 snapshots per day featuring this Pokemon. So do your snapshots, hopefully get yourself the lovely turquoise frog. We now have to go and defeat one of each of the leaders. Hello. One of each of the leaders has to be defeated. We've got ourselves a radar and a leader, or 3 in that direction. Fantastic. Our Absol, this and Sneasel are perma boosted shinies, so you've got yourself a very good opportunity to go and get a couple of shinies of this one. The first of those 3 rocket leaders was a Cliff. Didn't deliver a Shadow Shiny, unfortunately, but this second one is Sierra. We haven't shown Sierra on the video, so this is what Sierra's lineup looks like these days. Sierra has the brand new Shadow Shiny Skorupi, but in the second slot, it is very much a random mix of stuff. We've got Shadow Ninetales, Shadow Milotic, it's me, haha, and Shadow Ferrothorn, which is a little bit of an annoying one to deal with. So a ground or rock, a fire, or a grass/electric somewhere. So it's going to be a little bit tricky to judge that one. And in the final slot, she gets Shadow Nidoqueen, or Shadow Drapion, or Shadow Houndoom. It's difficult to judge what you might want to take in on that one. For the likes of Skorupi and Ninetales and Houndoom, a rock type would probably suffice nicely. So so a Rhyperior maybe. And Ferrothorn and Drapion is a tricky one to judge because you really want fire. I'd probably say a fighting, maybe a Lucario, because Ferrothorn should be weak to fighting, and Drapion being dark poison should be weak to fighting as well. Okay, we're going to give this team a bash and see how we do. To kind of judge how things go, because when the Team Rocket leaders are kind of tricky to take down and their Rocketmon itself is a bit dead, may not be the most interesting thing to go after. I'm purely doing these for the 12km eggs. I'm not really going to be chasing these Shadow Shinies. You can find yourself burning through rocket radars at great speed, and it's a very expensive endeavor, or can be. I tend to like to chase things that are actually meta useful and relevant. Okay, you can just use a Mega Lucario just to power up punch and get the increase. There we go. Little bit of a faff, but there we go. Skorupi is in the bin. Ferrothorn is next. This is weak to fighting, so Lucario is a good pull. Houndoom is technically weak to fighting as well. It's just because of Lucario's weakness to fire, which obviously Houndoom could have fire moves, is problematic. But if you saved up your energy, one Aura Sphere, absolute decimation, so you could clean sweep with Lucario. Hysterically, Skorupi is the most tricky mon to deal with in that particular lineup. But there we go. Sierra completed. We just need to find ourselves an Arlo to complete that research page, and it is not Shadow Shiny. It would be a very nice Shadow Shiny. 334 is going to be terrible. Nice. Arlo needs to be found. There's a Minccino raid over there. Ooh. After wandering around for a little bit, we have found an Arlo, so we can look at what this final Team Rocket leader has on his lineup. Arlo, of course, has the new Shadow Shiny Alolan Grimer. We're going to want a ground type really to take that thing down. Then it's Dugtrio, Gyarados, or Slowbro, which honestly is a bit of a pain. And then it's Alolan Mug, Metagross, or Sizzle. So you kind of need a fire type. Fighting Grass and Fire, I would argue. I'm going to try with that lineup and see how we go. Katana, Mega Lucario, and Reshiram. And this is the final leader for the research. Then we can claim, hopefully, our Super Rocket Radar before 12. It's nearly going to be 12 o'clock, which means the 12 p.m. balloon can be Giovanni. If not, we're going to have to start faffing around and searching for Giovanni himself. Coming up next, is Slowbro. It's the typical way with Shadows. They are absolutely ferocious when you're battling them. But when you have them on your battle party, Shadow Slowbro will be absolutely pointless. Almost take it out completely. Let's save the Lucario and switch. And fingers crossed. What's the final mon? Sizzle. Ooh. It's a circumstance where it's quicker to let it absolutely kill you. Just take out the katana. There we go. And then we can get Reshiram and toast it. Sorry, mate, we've got a shundo of you. So, Arlo defeated. That's the final one of the three that we needed. And Shadow Shiny? No. And 461 I know is terrible because I've had 498. And it's also terrible. We'll just claim the research and claim our Super Rocket Radar before the balloon spawns in. It's kind of worrying the lack of Giovanni points. Is it going to spawn in? Is it going to be anywhere? I have noticed actually quite bad delays on the old balloons coming into the game. There he is. Is it? No, it's a grunt. Oh, come on, come on, come on, come on. It's not a shiny Articuno, but 1064. That, well, let's see what it's going to be. So it's a non-boosted Galarian Articuno. 1074, 64 is not going to have any potential of being 100%er. So we've got to throw, got the whole wrist strap thing, look. Wrist strap to make sure the camera doesn't get nicked, but it's going to be a golden Raz and hopefully an excellent throw. Throw the attack, miss the excellent. We've really lost the ball on actually hitting these damn Galarian birds. See you later, sunshine. Oh dear, we've certainly lost our prowess in terms of hitting the excellence on those things. So there's a Dragonite raid I was on my way to. We've finally found enough rocket leaders to complete 12 12-kilometer eggs. So it's been mostly Shadow Shiny Skorupi checks, and this one still is not red. This mon does not like me, but to be honest, can't quibble with it. I don't like it. So it's a mutual kind of disrespect, but 12 12s, we wanted 12 12s to try and get Shroodle. However, there was a couple of Giovannis dotted around. I think those two next to us, annoyingly, were just out of range. So this should be Giovanni here. I remember walking past it. Giovanni's lineup, this is what you're facing. At the bottom there, of course, he keeps Persian, always going to be the evolved form of Meowth for slot number 1. And I think the lineup is pretty much identical to the last Rocket Wave. Shadow Nidoking or Kingdra or Rhyperior. Always bring in Lucario with Power Up Punch to deal with the Persian. You're then going to need yourself, I'd say, a grass type like Katana. That will deal okay damage versus Nidoking, and to be honest, it should sort out Rhyperior very nicely. Or the fighting Lucario can deal with both of them in some sort of way. But Kingdra and then Palkia, both of those are unique in being only weak to Dragon and to Fairy, so probably rock and roll with a Togekiss or maybe some kind of Dragon. But bear in mind those dragons will take super massive damage from the dragon moves on either Kingdra or Palkia shadows. So I would say go for fairy moves. Thing is, Giovanni isn't anywhere as difficult as it used to be when he was first introduced in 2019. The leaders and Giovanni back in those days were almost impossible to take down, certainly with the mons we had at the time, because level 50 wasn't a thing. Okay, so it's Rhyperior. So to be honest, Power Up Punch, as long as we spam it, it should be fine. Rhyperior is weak to fighting, although if he has ground moves like he does there, gonna do some nasty damage. Power Up Punch, not too much damage, and it might almost be worth with Katana. And there, for the first time ever, is Shadow Palkia, and it's gonna destroy us with, what is that, Dragon Tail? Let's throw a Leaf Blade, in there just for the vague hope of some damage. Oh, it does do some, okay, it actually does some damage. I'm impressed with Katana, and obviously Charm, super effective. Attack incoming, you can shield. So there you go, you can see that actually it's not too much of a challenge these days. A normal Lucario would probably do just as decent a job. It may just take a bit more damage. But that does mean Giovanni has been taken down. It means that we can get our Shadow Palkia catch. I don't know the IVs of what you're looking for, but 868 could very well be, like usual, trash. I think we've had one decent Shadowmon from a Giovanni battle in all the years we've done this, which was that 93% Groudon. There, let me know, have you got your Palkia already done and dusted? How were the IVs? This is 2-star. It could be worse. Don't forget, you can TM away frustration. I have a short up on the channel, but if you don't know, TMing away frustration, you are much better and quicker to go into your item bag, tap the charge TM, and then search at frustration, and it brings up the list of all the Pokemon that have frustration on them. You can then go tap, tap, done, tap, tap, done, rather than having to search through and use the TM on every single individual Pokemon. That's the Giovanni research done. Now it's time to claim this. We get an encounter at the end. That's not typical. Some Stardust, some XP, and an Absol. Butterfree hatched right along our route, and it also completes a winner raid task, so we kind of just readied up, because I assume more people are chasing the Minccino and Dragonite raids. This thing, it'd be nice to pick up the shiny this year, but we haven't. And in the ball, nice. Now we've got 12-12s, it means we get back on the Minccino task chase, which is why we wanted to do that raid in the first place. So, 3 checks. Check number 1 is not a shiny Minccino, and honestly, all of these have been dreadful. No shiny Wooper. Oh, Purify 3, no thanks. Okay, check number 2. Oh, it's a shiny, come on! I really didn't think we'd pick up 2 of them. Honestly, because I forgot how many checks it was since we got the last one. I don't know how many we've done. Yes! Is it better than the last one? I don't remember. Shiny Minccino family completed, come on. That's fantastic. All from quests. That was an explore 2 kilometer task, so completely freebie. This is a dead 3-star, but honestly, that's amazing. This is vastly better than that second one, by a long way. I'm not going to evolve it right now. I want to see if we can pick up some more tasks. There's an explore 1 kilometer, no thanks for the good old Furfrou. But we do have one more quest. Of course, not a back-to-back. That would have been stupid. We're going to keep grinding them. Let me know, have you got that Minccino? Have you got 2 Mincinos? After such a long time, one shiny chase has finally come to an end. 1669, the shiny hipster Sneasel. This thing was introduced years ago. Never picked it up through raids or the research or however many 24-hour challenges we did. So finally, the male variant has been picked up from the wild. Fantastic. It's a pink shiny video, apparently. That is fantastic. Such a good shiny costume, and 2-star, don't mind at all. I think I've earned a coffee for that. So I did just pop home to have a coffee and a bite of lunch, and K-Dunks, Patreon squad, I'd like to say a huge thank you for your Dragonite invite, because it delivered the shiny. Finally, this year, the Dragonite has sparkled at long last. I am very pleased with it, and it means actually, dude, we can name the shiny after you, which I absolutely love doing. I don't know why I golden razzed it, don't at me in the comments, but 2103 is very much on the low scale of things. Could you stop going up and down? Such a good quality shiny. The last one we got was actually from Sammy. 2023, it was when we ticked over to midnight on the 24-hour challenge of that year. Fantastic to have picked this up, genuinely stoked. And we can see dead 2-star, but from Peterborough. Thank you very much, K-Dunks, for that invite. That's awesome. Very much a good one for a lucky trade if we ever go lucky friends with somebody. Well, it does mean we have a winner raid task from Minccino, actually. There's not a shiny. And at long last, we have walked off those 8 kilometers. The 12Ks are here. And we're going to see if we can hatch this brand new Pokemon. The star piece is on, of course, because of Aurora Time. So it's a healthy 100 or so K dust from a batch of 12s. So let's see. It's a Volibee to start. It's a Pawniard that could be shiny. There's the new Pokemon! Shroodle into the Dex. Fantastic. It is in the most common tier, but then pretty much everything except one Pokemon, I think it's Larvitar, is in the most common tier. If we could pick up a couple of them, just to the sake of candy, that would be really nice. Sandile. Still haven't got my own shiny of that, and I hope that gets a community day later down the road. Varoom, still chasing the hundo. Salandit, or Sandar, not Sandal, you know what I mean. Salandit into Salazzle. Pawniard, okay, Pawniard again. We get one Shroodle out of the batch. Oh, Pawniard for the 3rd time in a row. And Sandile. Please, can we get one more Shroodle? No, Salandit, oh dear, one Shroodle out of those 12s. But hopefully, it's a 3-star, but hey, we'll take it for the Pokedex. I don't think we're going to evolve to Graphii just yet. And everything else, in typical egg fashion, was trash. So I'm going to turn off that because I don't want to be getting regular eggs. Since the rocket balloons are every 2 hours, it's not too bad to restock, although I have completely got 3 2s, 3 5s and 3 10s now. I'm not really sure whether to laugh or to cry with this, but it's a shiny Machop that we've picked up. Regular, not a Shadow, not a Dynamax. After all the Dynamax battles we've done and all the Shadow Machop grunts and raids and everything, it's a regular. And I know it's not a hundo because somebody's checked already. It just adds it to the total for the day. Green shiny number 2. 0-star. Amazing. Oh, finally, we've got ourselves another Galarian bird, but the Moltres is not shiny, unfortunately. 580 CP we have here. We're just about to find out if it's anywhere on the range. It's a good job I don't have to tab out.
No can do so, baby.
No chance. We're going to fail miserably like we did on the Articuno and the Zapdos a couple of days ago at getting the... That should have been an excellent, I swear to God. That was so close to an excellent throw. Has anybody else failed to get an excellent throw recently on a Galarian bird? I feel like even if I hit inside the circle, it doesn't count it. Oh well, 2 G-birds for 150,000 dust. So worth it. As it turns out, that Galarian Moltres was our 2nd to last spawn on Daily Adventure Incense, and we've completed what we wanted to do today. 12 kilometer eggs. We picked up the Shroodle, which is great. We will be trying to get some more candy for that, and hopefully a better IV one. Been quite a shiny day, to be honest. I know that we've the first Minccino is sort of engineered really, but the second one, fantastic to have ticked the second one off of the evolution line. The Sneasel, first time picking that up, the Dragonite finally from K-Dunks, and that random Machop. Don't mind the Clamper, we hatched that on Spotlight Hour stream randomly from a 5 kilometer egg. We should evolve one of the Minccino shinies up to Chinchino using that Unova Stone, since this one isn't a bad 3-star. And really, I wish all costume Pokemon could evolve. The Sneasel going into Weavile would be an amazing shiny to complete, but there, Chinchino loses its pink. It's a shame, it becomes more of a cappuccino colour. It does mean we've got a nice AR shot potential. Now we've got Shroodle and these 2. I completely forgot to put this at the beginning of the video actually, just doing a little search. No hundos today, but our daily spawn, the one that pops up with the white ring, was a Nundo Gothita, which was certainly a good way to start today. So that was the Team Rocket kicking off straight away, and that's a perfect conclusion right there. So let me know your thoughts and feelings of this part 2 takeover with Team Rocket being featured. New Shadow Shinies, Shadow Palkia from Giovanni, and of course we've got later in the week the Shadow Shiny Ho-Oh Raid Day coming up. And as I said, you can comment below including your in-game name and your friend code if you fancy having some invites for the Shadow Ho-Oh Raid Day, because not everybody has been able to get that Shadow Legendary. So this is kind of the first opportunity we can remote them. Boosted shiny opportunity, 20 remotes for the allotted time. Think it's quality. It's time to wrap up. I'll see you all later in the week, but thank you very much to every single person over on the Patreon squad, whom without we would not be able to do the sorts of grinds and event coverage that we do, the live streams and the event travel, be it for big tour and go fest events, or if the smaller community day events, which I'm hoping we can happen later in the year. So thank you so very much to every single person over there, and actually if they deliver some shiny luck as well, big shout out to K-Dunks for the shiny dragonite. And if you enjoyed the content you saw here today, check out one of the 2 videos over there on the screen, and you can hit that subscribe button down below with notification bell on so you don't miss any future content, because there's so much here for you to keep enjoying, and hopefully you do stick with me for the foreseeable future. But I'll say until the next time, we'll go hunting for some more Shroodle. Do take care.